of this recording will be posted to the Girl Guides Association YouTube page. Virtual meeting protocol. Respect other people's time. Other attendees have schedules as well. Someone else may have to get to work after this meeting. Another attendee may be on a work break. Keep an eye on the clock. Remember, others have to be present as well. Others will have a contribution to make. Focus on salient facts and information. Stick to the point. Keep your contributions as short as possible. Look and dress appropriately. Remember, the camera is on you. We can see your face, your hair, your clothes, of the waist at least. This session is being recorded and will be subsequently posted online. Make privacy a priority. You control what we see. Devices are set up where you are comfortable. Use a background if you wish. Take control of your noise. Set up in a relatively quiet space with minimal distractions. Position your camera at eye level. Use headsets or earbuds if you wish. Speak clearly, but do not shout. Pay attention to mute. Background noises are very distracting. Keep your microphone muted when you are not speaking. Get familiar with the controls. The main taskbar contains the major controls that you are likely to use during our virtual meeting. Give everyone an opportunity to speak. Others have something to contribute. Please do not speak while someone else is speaking. Avoid multitasking. It is best to be mindful and give your full attention. Avoid eating or drinking. It can be off-putting for people to see or hear you eat or drink. An exception is water, coffee, or tea, especially if you've got a packed schedule. Be an active participant. Pay attention, listen, understand, contribute. We will now stand for the world song.
Our way is clear as we march on and see our flag on high. It's never furled throughout the world, for we shall never die. We must unite for one strife, in friendship true and strong, until the earth in its freedom shall sing our song, shall sing our song. All those who love the true and whose promises were kept, with humble minds whose acts were kind, whose honor never slept. These words of free and we them to live, to give, to love, praise, and all we can give, all we can give.
We now have the reflection.
The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Even though I walked in the valley of the shadow of death, I fear no evil. For thou art with me, thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup overflow. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever and ever. Amen. We all know how to ask God for things, but one thing we do not do often enough is give thanks. Wanting to mature in her spiritual life and become more thankful, Sue started what she called a thanks living jar. Each evening, she wrote on a small piece of paper one thing she thanked God for and dropped it in the jar. Some days she had many praises. Other difficult days, she struggled to find one. At the end of the year, she emptied her jar and read through all of the notes. She found herself thanking God again for everything he had done. He had given simple things like a beautiful sunset or a cool evening for a walk in the park. And other times he had provided grace to handle a difficult situation or had answered a prayer. Sue's discovery reminded me of what the psalmist David says he experienced. God refreshed him with green pastures and quiet waters. He gave him guidance, protection, and comfort. David concluded, "Surely your goodness and love will follow me all the days of my life." I'm going to make a thanks living jar this year. Maybe you'd like to do as well. I think we'll see we have many reasons to thank God, including his gifts of friends and family and his provisions for our physical, spiritual, and emotional needs. We'll see that the goodness and love of God follows us all the days of our lives. So we will continue to have many things and pray and praise God for in the coming days. As his dearly loved children, may praising and thanking God characterize our lives. Father, if we were to record all your blessings, we could not complete the task in a lifetime. But we can pause this moment and say a simple thank you for your faithfulness and goodness. Remember to thank God for the ordinary as well as the extraordinary things. And remember to thank him with a grateful heart.
Thank you, Ms. Joanne Camsweeks, for your reflection. We'll now invite Ms. Angela Nespick to give our opening remarks.
Good evening to our specially invited guests, the members of council, the executive committee, specialists, division and district commissioners, unit leaders, ranger, senior. I'm just going to pause a second. Sarah, if you could stop the sharing of the PowerPoint. Thank you. Thanks. Sorry for that. Our ranger, senior, junior, and brownie guides, diploma and local trainers, trainee trainers, resource persons, welcome to our thank you and appreciation ceremony for the training section of the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago. In 2019, our training committee assessed the training needs of our association and planned and carried out trainings accordingly. In 2020, we hit a curveball, due to, as we all know, the then deadly virus of COVID-19 and its worldwide and local impact, which caused us to reassess and change our learning to make it more adaptable for virtual rather than face-to-face trainings. The WAG's leadership model states, and I quote, "For WAGs, leadership is a shared journey that empowers us to work together and bring a positive change to our lives and the lives of others and our wider society." The members of our training section, working with other sections of our association, heartily embraced not just this statement, but the WAG's leadership model as a whole, working together to ensure training continued, not just for the girls, but for the leaders as well. Indeed, the formation of the media guides as part of our training section showed the skills, knowledge, talent, and growth of both the leaders and girls under trying circumstances. Today, as we recognize the efforts of our trainers, trainees, resource persons, as well as the girl and adult participants of the various training events held during the period 2019 to 2021. We thank them. I thank them for accepting the challenge of staying committed to guiding, notwithstanding the many personal and at times painful challenges they experienced, sometimes in silence, sometimes shared. I know it has not been an easy road, and some who started the journey with us have reached the end of their road. As Girl Guides, we continue to lead by example with our message of our mission statement, which states, to enable girls and young women to develop their fullest potential as responsible citizens of the world. To all participants and facilitators in our training programs who have inspired the training team with their cooperation and enthusiasm, we look forward to each one advancing their training journey. For let us not forget the words of Lord Robert Baden-Powell. The most important object in a Boy Scout or Girl Guide training is to educate, not instruct. Do enjoy this evening's celebrations, and thank you for listening.
We now have,
At this time, I would like then to thank those individuals, trainers, and specialists. So we'll start. We want to start to advise you first about the training section. So the training section of our association comprises various committees and teams that facilitate our training program. So before we start the slide, I'm just going to go through a bit about our training committee and the other members of our training team. The training committee, chaired by the training commissioner, ideally comprises all specialist commissioners, the chair of each regional training team, a representative from the ministry under whose portfolio guiding falls, 4 trainers nominated by the training team, and a secretary to the committee. The national training team, which implements this training program, ideally comprises the commissioner for training, all regional trainers, diploma and local trainers, resource personnel, trainee trainers as nominated by their regional training team, and a secretary to the training team. There are 7 training regions, each made up of 2 or 4 divisions, except for the Tobago division, which has only 1 division. In 2020, as we know, due to the change in circumstances because of COVID-19, as I said earlier, we created a new team for the training section called Media Guides. This section was created in most part by one of our past training secretaries, Nicole Johnson. Its purpose to design and post social media content for the association, brainstorm, propose, and spearhead digital campaigns, support current association initiatives, and conduct regular trainings in public speaking, social media platforms, photography, and more. The core team comprises a chairperson, the commissioner for training, the chief commissioner, a representative from the GGATT Council, 6 adult members, and 4 girl members. And we recognize these committees and teams and sincerely thank them for their service to our section. So we go now to our first row of certificates. Thank you, Sarah. And we will be sending these certificates to you via the email. And in this moment, we want to thank our National Training Committee. So to the National Training Committee, we say thank you for your support to national training during the period 2019 to 2021. And the present members of this committee are Joanne Camps-Weeks, Renata Wiggins, Anne Second, Cheryl Franklin, Helena Stout Joseph. We thank each one of them. As we continue, Keva Doyle, Hulda Balchan Bisu, Bernadette Antoine, but of course myself, Yvette Rollock James. We thank these members. Marilyn Barker Duncan, Catherine Reed, Deborah East, Deanna Phillip, Joreen Wilson. Thank you all. And we continue with the other members of our national training team. We would also like to thank. They consist of the other teams that I listed earlier. And to them we say, thank you. Our national training team, for your support and commitment in implementing the training program during this period 2020 to 2021. Our trainers, Doreen Sampson, Catherine Reed, Anne Marchand Wilson, Helena Stout Joseph, Jacqueline Roach Sargent. We thank you. Joreen Wilson, Yvette Rollock James, Marilyn Barker Duncan, Joanne Camps-Weeks. We thank you. Posthumously, we would like to remember Linda Ryan Wilson and Joan Weeks. And we pause here for a moment of silence. May their souls and the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, rest in peace. We continue with our trainee trainers. Patricia Greenidge, Cheryl Franklin, Ann Williams, Darrell Leacock. We thank you. Nadine Joseph, Kellyanne Wilson, Sarah Ali, Trisha Benjamin, Zakia Edwards. We thank you. Our resource persons who assist us both in cash and kind: Sister Annetta Alexander, Vanetta Grant, Diane Simeon, Maxine Atong, Cavell Joseph, Rawati Hermaneva. We thank you. Courtney Bruce, Anna Maria Mora, Keva Doyle, Rondell Benjamin, Jolene Johnson. We thank you. And at this time, I will pause here while we take a short break in song. So back over to you, Dara.
With all that has happened and sadly continues with young girls and women, we want to listen carefully to this next presentation. We all need to speak up and speak out. Sarah? Okay.
There's another girl just like me. She's a real go-getter. There's another girl just like me. She's an innovator. There's another girl just like me, emboldened and free, and she's just like me. Take a little step closer to your dreams. Take a little step closer to your dreams. It's a little bit closer than it seems. We're going to change the world, change the world, change the world. Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Raise your hand, raise your voice. Raise the roof, raise the sky. 'Cause the world belongs to you and I. There's another girl just like me. She's a real risk taker. There's another girl just like me. She's born to be a leader. There's another girl just like me, emboldened and free, and she's just like me. Take a little step closer to your dreams. Take a little step closer to your dreams. It's a little bit closer than it seems. We're going to change the world, change the world, change the world. Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Raise your hand, raise your voice. Raise the roof, raise the sky. 'Cause the world belongs to you and I. This is your voice. These are your words. This is your story that needs to be heard. Speak for the voiceless, the living earth. This is a time we belong to life. We belong to life. There's another girl just like me, a confident creator. There's another girl just like me, a strong initiator. There's another girl just like me, emboldened and free, and she's just like me. Take a little step closer to your dreams. Take a little step closer to your dreams. It's a little bit closer than it seems. We're going to change the world, change the world, change the world. Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Raise your hand, raise your voice. Raise the roof, raise the sky. The world belongs to you. Speak up, speak up, speak up, speak up. Stand up, stand up, stand up, stand up. Raise your hand, raise your voice. Raise the roof, raise the sky. The world belongs to you and I. And the silence ends here.
We now pass you on to Sarah Ali, and she'll continue recognizing our facilitating teams.
Good afternoon. Next, we'll have our media guides. Our media guides was the love child of Angela and Nikki as the training team to develop our girls to be a lot more confident when public speaking or generally any sort of presentation, that especially something that I'm doing now. I'm going to share my screen. We want to thank We would like to thank the following girls, brownies, the young leaders that took part in our media guides training. From the Chaguanas division, Casey Langton, Alicia Stanisclaus, Xiomara Benjamin, Amelia Giddens, Nicola Benjamin, also core member of Media Guides, Taisha Johnson. We thank you. From the Coover division, lone person, Taraji David. We thank you, Taraji. From the East Port of Spain division, Leona Arjun, Isabella Reyes, Tamia Ramkisoon, Jehan Charles, core member. We thank you. Victoria Central Division, Michael Brown, Shiana Rampersad, CJ Cameron, Jenny Marie Moore, Hadassah Kinsdale, Celine Bess. We thank you. Oh, Malia Mark. We thank you. Victoria Central. Cheyenne Salandi. Amelia Ramkisoon, core member. Sheena Cooper. Marilee Krusnak. Sarah Ali, my namesake. Derry Balbosa. Kenya Augustine. We thank you. From Tobago, Sumaya Idu, Ria Frederick, core member, Real Neptune, we thank you. West Port of Spain Division, Tarika Farrell, Bernice Antoine, we thank you. Adult leaders of our core team, Nicole Johnson, our chair, Angela Nesbitt, Bernadette Antoine, Nadine Joseph, Zakia Edwards, and second, we thank you. Adult leaders, Catherine Reed, Yvette Rollock James, Maria Ramkisoon, myself, Sarah, Trisha Benjamin, and Ms. Jackie Dolly. We thank you. Now, we go on to those girls that took part in our Independence Day challenge. See my screen still? All our girls that created content and took part in our Independence Day challenge. This challenge was used as a way for the girls to become aware of the needs of, not the needs, but what happened from independence to Republic Day. And we were given 5 challenges. We have Casey Langdon, Alyssa Stanislaus, Casey CJ Cameron, Amelia Giddens, Taisha Johnson, Jenny Marie, Tamia Ramkisoon, we thank you. Malia Mark, Shiana Rampersad, Shiana Cooper, Jenny Marie Moore, Hadassah Kinsdale, Celine Bass, Feliska Balmakoon, we thank you. Mary Lee, we thank you. Sarah Ali, we thank you. Thierry Balbosa, we thank you. Janelle Neptune, Taraji Davis, Isabella Reyes, Jana Marie Moore. I'm sure you all have seen those lovely videos in 2020 of our girls singing Sparrow, Sugar Aloes, and all our calypsos. Thinking about all our flags, we're recreating their history. We thank you for that. Darrell.
Thank you, Sarah. We now move on to recognizing those who participated in the training programs between 2020 to 2022. Before we recognize each program participants, I will provide a brief description of the program. Sarah, you can start us. Free being me. Millions of girls and young women struggle with low self-esteem and body image anxiety. 8 out of 10 girls are concerned about the way they look. 7 out of 10 girls put their health at risk by not eating. In 2015, WAGS and Dove seized the opportunity to work together. That's okay. So the persons who we're recognizing for Free Being Me, the girls are Camilla Riley, Amelia Giddings, Alexandra Sampson, Rihanna Lochan, Amaya Job, Jada Marie Guma, Leanne Thomas, Kaylin Smith, Ebony Smith, Zara Joseph, Chelsea Charles, Natalia Gonzalez, Aoife Hughes Baxton, and Ciara Gratt. We have our guiders, Berlan Harris. Our facilitators, and Kerry Philip Hamilton. Our facilitators, Angela Nesbitt, Nicole Highland, and Kerry Ann Hamilton. Sorry, that's what she was, a facilitator. So, no. Our next program, Sustainable Development Goals. The Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, okay. SDGs are an expansion of the Millennium Development Goals, agreed upon by world leaders at the UN General Assembly in September of 2015. Targets are to be achieved by 2030. They're meant to tackle the huge world challenges, including poverty, health, climate change, and various forms of inequality. There are 17 SDGs, and we paid special attention in these training sessions to climate change. So our girls receiving certificates are Casey Langton, Sadiqa Milan, Isabella Regis, Zara Joseph, Rael Neptune, Ebony Smith, Aliyah Sundar Singh, Nalia Lukur. Our adult participants were Alicia Jones Smith, Sandra Modest, Valerie Bernard, Jonelle Garraway, Sherry Yi Kong Chong, Marilyn Sobian, Berlan Harris, Hulda Bechan Bisoon, Joanne Weeks deceased. Our facilitators, Sarah Ali, so these are the other participants that we had, the adult participants. Our facilitators, Sarah Ali, Nicole Johnson, Zakia Edwards, Bernadette Antwine, and Angela Nesbitt. Our other challenge was our Caribbean Link Day Challenge. The Caribbean Link of Guiding is a consortium of 21 guiding associations throughout the Caribbean. On April 22nd, 2021, a challenge was issued to all members to firstly create a disaster preparedness kit, identify link members who suffered a natural disaster, and list 3 practical responses as Girl Guides that we can initiate. Also, make a video or picture book documenting the above. 4 persons accepted and accomplished this challenge. We have Bianca Bettel, Monisha Napier, Lenora Cyrus, and our leader, Marilyn Sobian. We then moved on to our project management training. The Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago, in collaboration with the Project Management Institute Southern Caribbean chapter, facilitated this training. The goal was to promote project management skills to the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago, to provide GGATT members, both youth and adults, with theoretical and practical training. Receiving these certificates of participation, we have Abia Smith, Lenore Cyrus, Natifa Jamot, Justine Charles, Annalisa Boyce, Bernice Antoine, Mary Lee Ann Josephine Cruikshank, Ria Frederick, Sarah Ali, Deborah Balgobin, Shian Rampasad, Nakisi Bramble, and Vedandi Lachman Singh. Facilitators, Stefan Samuri, Kino Sami, Jamelia Simeon, Lashala Carr, and Marissa Archibald. Could we have a round of applause to all those who rose to the challenge and participated in our different activities. So for this program, we're showing appreciation and we're also being thankful. So we're taking a short break for me just to share this poem with you. It's called Be Thankful. The author is unknown. Be thankful. Author unknown. Be thankful that you don't already have everything you desire. If you did, what would there be to look forward to? Be thankful when you don't know something, for it gives you the opportunity to learn. Be thankful for the difficult times. During those times, grow. Be thankful for your limitations because they give you opportunities for improvement. Be thankful for each new challenge because it will build your strength and character. Be thankful for your mistakes. They will teach you valuable lessons. Be thankful when you're tired and weary because it means you've made a difference. It's easy to be thankful for the good things. A life of rich fulfillment comes to those who are also thankful for the setbacks. Gratitude can turn a negative into a positive. Find a way to be thankful for all your troubles, and they can become your blessings. I will now pass you over to Mrs. Catherine Reed, who will introduce our guest speaker. Mrs. Reed.
Good evening, everyone. It is my pleasant duty to introduce Mrs. Ruth Paris, our guest speaker. Mrs. Paris joined the Girl Guides Association of Barbados at age 11. She says, and I quote, "My guiding journey has assisted in molding me into the woman I am today, a social worker by profession and a trainer in guiding." She rose to the rank of Chief Commissioner of the Girl Guides Association of Barbados and Chairman of the Caribbean Link of Guiding. "Be the change you would like to see in the world" is a quote that she has lived well. And it has directed her choices. It has helped her in her guiding career and as a guide, guider, and a trainer. Being the Caribbean Link trainer has enabled her to nurture girls and young women into responsible world citizens who have represented the Caribbean region on many a global stage on various topics, including climate change, the environment, and voices against violence. Ruth says that her greatest accomplishment to date is the facilitation of the first World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts Regional National Leadership Development Program in 2014. This was a joint venture between the Western Hemisphere region and the Caribbean Link of Guiding. Some of the best practices that were given birth at this workshop are still being used throughout the regions. Ruth says that guiding provided her with a space to indulge in most of her interests and hobbies, from spirituality and travel to craft and cooking. Here to give us her thoughts on the importance of training, please welcome Mrs. Ruth Paris.
Thank you, Catherine. And you are one of the friends that I met through guiding. Good evening, everyone. First, I must apologize for my lateness, but I was actually trapped in a traffic jam. And I am not certain of the protocols at the moment, but please forgive me. I know that they were addressed earlier. And I know from the program that your Chief Commissioner was supposed to be present. So good evening, Ms. Dolly. I don't know if the president is there as well, but whomever is there from the executive, I would like to say good evening, and I wish you all are in the best of health at the moment. What I did do, and I know I'm supposed to speak to you from a training perspective, but because of the theme and what we were going through for the last 2 years, I decided training will come out in what I have to say, but I decided to do it from the concept of your theme, which is gratitude and appreciation, which I know that sometimes we in guiding forget to do. And I must commend Angela and the training team for the initiative they have taken to thank the persons who participated in the activities that were going on in the association for the past 3 years. At times, our light goes out and it is rekindled by a spark from another person. Each of us has cause to think with deep gratitude of those who have lighted the flame within us. Albert Schweitzer. Being a member of a Girl Guides Association is a unique experience of networking, fun, sisterhood, development, and friendships that have no boundaries. It is a platform where individuals are encouraged to do their best at all times with the support of their guiders, volunteers, and friends. In the association, we are encouraged to love and respect one another and every living thing, which When we consider the density of this request, it is a tall order to fill in a world riddled with dishonesty, competitiveness, and self-advancement. When we choose to become a trainer in the association, we undertake the task of catering to the needs of our members. To successfully complete this mandate, we have to work in collaboration with others, as well as request their assistance to ensure the task is completed in an efficient and timely manner. Now, we just don't take it for granted. Now, do we just take it for granted that when we request help, we will automatically get it? You can answer if you care to. Do you give yourselves and others enough time to prepare and do a good job? Do we take all the accolades without mentioning those who rendered assistance? One should never tire of being thankful and grateful, as giving thanks with a grateful heart reaps benefits that sometimes is unforeseen. Have you ever been overwhelmed, overworked, and someone makes a suggestion or lend the assistance that is needed at that time that makes all the difference in the world? Practicing affirmations in your everyday life enables you to become aware of things and persons you are thankful and grateful for. This is no new phenomenon. As children, we were told, when you awake, thank God for living to see a new day. Brace before and after meals. Pray for everyone and give thanks for the part they play in your life. And the practices go like this. I am grateful for being able to share this moment with the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago. I am thankful that I am a member of a regional and international organization that has molded me into the woman that I am today. You can say or write as many as you like, as often as you like throughout the day about any and everything. The members here who are being honored, and I want to hear you, honored today, what are you grateful for right now? Angela, I hope somebody would be able to answer, or if not, Catherine or Angela will have to answer. What are you grateful for right now?
We are grateful for being able to be still here, being able to do what we can do and to give our best.
So that's Catherine?
No, darling.
Okay, just making sure.
You wanted me to say something?
Yes,
That's needed.
Because I'm not.
I'm grateful for the
know.
whole team, because my time and energy is, how shall I say, at an end. So we see in some replacements. So I'm grateful for that.
Okay, well done. I thank all of you for the time and dedication you have invested in your association. And with the challenges of COVID-19, you persevered with the assistance and encouragement of your guiding sisters, friends, and families to fulfill your goals. Well done. As we congratulate and celebrate the achievements of persons to be honored here today, let us give thanks for them and remain grateful for the work that they do for the youth whilst fulfilling the guide laws. And I'll invite everyone, whether you're muted or live, just to say with me our law. A guide is loyal and can be trusted. A guide is helpful. A guide is polite and considerate. A guide is friendly and a sister to all guides. A guide is kind to animals and respect all living things. A guide is obedient. A guide has courage and is cheerful in all difficulties. A guide makes good use of her time.
A
A guide
guide is
takes care of
careful
her
of
own
her own
possessions
belonging.
and those of others. A guide is self-controlled in all she thinks, says, and does. I should say that's the one that we use in Barbados. But why I decided, I always go back to our law, because everything that we do in guiding, and especially as a training team, has to reflect our promise and our law. And if you look at them carefully, you would see that we always have to be on our P's and Q's when we are trainers. I know that sometimes we get frustrated with some members who always lose something. I didn't see the email, I didn't get the mail, but we still have to persevere when we are part of a training team. And the one that I always remind my trainers of in Barbados is a guide makes good use of her time. And timing is very important to a trainer in that we have to prepare. We have specific times in order to complete a task. And when we have put all the time and effort into our preparation, and members forget our correspondence, forget the dates, can't be bothered, because we have to recognize that some people just can't be bothered. It does something to us as trainers. But I'm certain that if you look around, you would see that the group of trainers within your organization are always present when they need to be present. Sometimes they may not be in full numbers, but at least 2 or 3 of us would make it to the workshop, to the function. And certainly when we're having trainings amongst the districts and divisions, we do come to assist one another in what we are going to be doing on that day. And this is why I said before that as a trainer, it is a very serious mandate that we are taking up, because in truth and in fact, we are nurturing and nurturing the members of our association so that you understand what is going on in the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts, so that you understand the principles of guiding, so that you in turn can pass this on to the persons that are in your care. And I know we live in an age of technology, and for us who are not millennials, sometimes they wonder why we are not using the technology. But look at what happened to us the last 2 years. All of us had to learn to prepare in a different way, to deliver on a different platform. And if we were not willing to educate ourselves, how can we this evening be presenting awards on several different topics that were offered by the World Association of Girl Guides and Girl Scouts and the Caribbean Link of Guiding? The teachers would know the phrase chalk and talk. I still do believe in my chalk and talk, because persons learn in various ways. For me, I am visual. Other persons would just pick up a book and get it right away. Me, I have to read 3 and 4 times. And as trainers, we have to know our audiences so that everybody will understand what we are saying. Everybody would glean knowledge from the workshop or the training, the weekend residential. And as a trainer, you also have to ensure that everybody understands what has to be done, even if it means after the training that you take that person aside whom you may identify will need more assistance, and give them that assistance, because that is the only way we will be able to facilitate the phrase, each one, teach one. And if we can practice doing this, it will trickle down to our blossoms, brownies, and up to our guides and rangers and young leaders. Because we always have to lend them, and I mean, that's the terminology we use in guiding, lend a hand. It is just not to say it, it is to do it. And trainers, I know that we are always going and going and going like the Energizer Bunny, but we have to continue going if guiding is to continue. There are days when you wonder, well, why am I doing this? And it's like Angela mentioned it to me on Thinking Day, and I said, well, I'll attend. And then the next thing you know, I am doing the featured speaking. But this is guiding. And if we are going to be a friend and a sister to all guides, and a guide makes good use of her time, and a guide is self-controlled in all she thinks, says, and does, it is that we always have to be aware and aware of where we are, at what stage we are. And there's nothing wrong in saying, I don't understand. And I trust that persons that are here present always listen. Because, you know, as human beings, someone is speaking and we are talking over them. If you develop the act of listening, there's a lot that you will hear. You will hear when the trainer is at her wit's end, or the guider is at her wit's end because she's overwhelmed. There's a lot going on in her work life. There's a lot going on in her private life. If you're a teacher, there's a lot going on at school. And we have to remember that persons in the Guide Association are human beings. We have our limitations. In a way, I was glad for COVID because it gave me a time to be still and regroup in guiding. It may seem a strange thing to say, but with all that I do, and don't get me wrong, I enjoy, because I still have fun in guiding, because I always say to people, especially persons who know me being in guiding from age 11 and ask me, well, why are you still in guiding? I said, well, I have not stopped laughing. I still enjoy my guiding, so I will continue. The day I stop guiding is the day I no longer laugh in guiding. And that is really me. It is, you may see me and I may look very quiet and everything, but most of the time I'm observing and listening. But one thing guiding has taught me, and that was reinforced in my family and also the high school that I went to, when you're asked to do a task, always give of your best. And that is all we ask of young trainers, young guiders, and members of the association. And it is to be honest. There's not that part in our law that said a guide is honest. It is not just there for the sake of being there. If you know that you cannot fulfill a task after you've accepted to do it, there's nothing wrong with saying, you know, I don't think I can no longer do this. But don't leave it there and for us thinking you're doing it. And when it comes to deliver, there's nothing to deliver. And this is where we would then have to become friendly and a sister, because we'll have to salvage the situation. So I will encourage you that when the training team requests your assistance, please give it to them, because this is the only way that your association will grow. This is the only way girls will develop within the association. And then one day when you're sitting at home and you see somebody at the UN spouting something on the environment, you say, but by the way, you know, she belonged to Victoria South. And you had no idea that that was the path the girl traveled. And I see this all the time. I had one occasion where one of my guys whom I thought was still in Canada called me and said, you know, Auntie Ruth, I need to get some guiding clothing. And I said, what in heaven's name for? She said, well, I was working at the UN. On my resume, it had that I was a guide. There's a forum in Switzerland, and they've asked me to attend. And she hadn't been, well, she was doing guiding in Canada, but she hadn't done anything for the Barbados Association in recent years. You know, and these are things that we also have to look at, that when you put guiding on your resume, it gives you a step into several different worlds. And one unfortunate thing about putting guiding is that they think you can do everything. They think you're a musician, you know, so we have to keep the standards going. And the trainers are the ones that instill that standards in members of the association. It isn't that we want to be large and in charge, but it is just that we are the voice who give you the information. The information has to be correct. The projects and so on has to be done correctly. And we have a reputation to live up to. Because there are some trainers, and I must say within the Caribbean region, several of us have been asked by WAGs to work at a world level. You may not know this, but it happens. Catherine and I, for example, for sure, here within the forum, are two of them who have been asked to work with WAGs on more than one occasion. So if you would like to excel as a young trainer to that level, you have to continue educating yourself. You have to continue being professional. And when the opportunity arises and you're asked or requested to do a session, by all means, if you think you're capable of doing it, and we're here to assist you, you know, take the opportunity and develop yourself and grow in guiding. And everybody knows that I like my quotes, and I would leave you with this one. Thankfulness is the beginning of gratitude. Gratitude is the completion of thankfulness. Thankfulness may consist merely of words. Gratitude is shown in acts. Have a good evening.
Thank you so much, Ms. Paris, for your enlightening, Mrs. Paris, sorry, for your enlightening and thought-provoking presentation on service and gratitude. Thank you for your service to guiding. We are indeed grateful for all your contributions. I now pass you over to Mrs. Catherine Reed as we continue our program.
Thank you, Mrs. Paris. Thank you, Daryl.
You're welcome.
At this point, we want to give the awards to those who participated in the virtual training for adults. The first virtual training for adults took place from the 10th of August to the 26th of October, 2021. The aims of the training were to provide basic training for unit leaders, district and division commissioners, executive members, and prospective volunteers, to address some leadership challenges regarding roles and responsibilities, to improve morale, and to provide opportunities for trainers and trainees to develop their online skills. Attendance was not always what we expected, so the invitation was further issued to senior guides and rangers. Those who participated were enthusiastic to the point of following sessions on their cell phones while traveling home. We thank these ladies for their attendance and proudly present certificates of participation to the following members. Ranger guides and young leaders who attended. From the Shoguanas Division, Sainara Babulal, Amy Babulal, Tyler Babulal, Chiana Rampasad. From the Tacarigua Division, Amelia Nicholas, Talia Fort, Faith Clark, Jehan Charles. Congratulations and thank you girls for attending. Ranger Guides and Young Leaders from the West Port of Spain Division, Abia Smith, Akila Ross, Atia Sorillo, Bernice Antoine. From the East Port of Spain Division, Suyena Boisel. From the Arima Ruka Division, Josanne Mulligan. Thank you for attending and congratulations. Ranger Guides and Young Leaders continue. Caitlin Moore, Kezia Joseph, Teddy Ann Kwamina, Trisha Gopal, Darlene Maraj, Rianne Grant. Congratulations, girls. Unit leaders participating in the first virtual training were from the Tobago Division, Andrea Francis Roberts, J.L. Logan, Rachel James. From the Arima Aruka Division, the leaders were Sherry-Ann Warrell Neptune, Bethia Burgess, Lizanne Libert Allen, Danielle Frederick. Congratulations and thank you for attending. Unit leaders continued, those from the East Port of Spain Division, Demia Diet, Denisha Nore, Maria Alet Ramkisoon, Shanika Solomon, and from the Victoria Central Division, the leaders who attended were Danielle Christian East, Marilyn Sobian, Nikisi Bramble. Congratulations to these leaders and thank you for attending. Those attending from the San Juan Division were Alicia Joseph, Elizabeth Williams, Lynette Paul Phillip. From the Tacarigua Division, Johanna Fullerton All, Allison Richards. From the Victoria West Division, Ashika Hope. Congratulations to these leaders and thank you for attending. Unit leaders from the Couva Division, Asha Alexis, Dion Branca, Whitney Fullerton Simon. From the Chaguanas Division, Michelle Babulal, Nadine Francis, and Sarah Ali. From the West Port of Spain Division, Kalia Jones and Deborah Smith. Congratulations to these leaders and thank you for attending. Commissioners who attended the first adult virtual training session from the Chaguanas Division, Alicia Jones Smith from the Samon Division, Sherry Yi Kong Chung, Joanne Brown Samuel from the East Port of Spain Division, Jewel Hills. She's now a guide in Chaguanas. Congratulations to these commissioners and thank you for attending. Commissioners who attended from the Victoria West Division were Jonelle Garraway, Judy Reefer Johnson. From the St. Patrick West Division, Vonda Jeffrey. From Victoria East Division, Yvette Scanterbury McShahy. Congratulations to these commissioners and thank you very much for attending. Specialist commissioners and council members who attended the first virtual adult training. Specialist commissioners were Kathleen Pear, and second, Bernadette Antoine. Council members, Carolyn Sipasad Bechan, Jacqueline Dolly. We're very happy to have our president and chief commissioner. Congratulations and thank you for attending. The virtual certificate will include all sessions that you actually attended. Resource persons we need to thank were Cavell Joseph St. Ormer, Gillian Hills, Keva Doyle, Maxine Atong, Rawati Hiramaneva. Thank you, ladies. You made the session so interesting. Trainers and trainee trainers who facilitated the workshop, myself, Catherine Reed, Daryl Leacock, Doreen Sampson, Nadine Joseph, Sarah Ali, Yvette Rolla James, Zakia Edwards. Thank you to these trainers and trainee trainers for facilitating the program. And we continue. Ann Williams, Ann Marchand Wilson, Angela Nesbitt, Helena Stout Joseph, Jacqueline Sargent, Joanne Camps Weeks, Kellyanne Wilson, Patricia Greenidge. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts to these trainers and trainee trainers. Unfortunately, we lost two of our trainees, Joan Weeks, and she will be remembered fondly. And I hand it back to Daryl.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Reed. I will now pass you on to Sarah Ali, who's going to give us a dynamic presentation.
Aye.
Recruit, recruit, recruit. That's what we're doing today. Let's take a walk down memory lane. Do you remember Wiltington Day? Do you remember all the fun dressing up for Old Mass? Do you remember the karate moves we learned or the friends that we made? We at the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago, our top priority is to develop our girls with confidence, responsibility, and empowered girls to take on the future. We hope to engage, incite, and empower. Do you remember our campfires? Our camping outdoors, sleeping on the ground, pitching a tent and your tent falling down in the rain? Do you remember all the songs and fun games and songs that we sang? Do you remember wearing our funny socks to raise awareness? We develop the leaders and the change makers of the future. Do you remember wearing on that uniform to go out there and meet our international sisters? Go out there to meet the president and shake hands, but we shake hands with our left. Do you remember all the friends that we made from far across Trinidad, Tobago, even overseas? Do you remember that? We need you. Share the word. Tell your sisters, your cousins, your neighbors, your classmates, even past guides that you remember your mommy was a guide. Tell her, join, we need her too. Email us or check out our website. Parents, we need you. You could be a lawyer, an accountant, a seamstress, a soca artist. We need you. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer. Yes, as Mrs. Paris said, it does get overwhelming sometimes. But you know what? Seeing the smiles on those girls' faces is worth it every single time. Join the Girl Guides Association. Volunteer, volunteer, volunteer.
Thank you, Sarah, for our walk down memory lane. We now invite our Chief Commissioner, Ms. Jacqueline Dolly, to give the closing remarks.
Our guest speaker, Ms. Ruth Paris, the Chair of the Caribbean Link of Guiding. Our Training Commissioner, Mrs. Angela Nesbitt. All trainers and trainee trainers, resource persons, rangers, senior guides, junior guides, brownies, friends of the Girl Guides who are at this function. It is indeed a pleasure to be invited to say a few words to you this evening. I am extremely happy to see us show appreciation to the persons who were involved in training throughout this period of the pandemic. It is said that the purpose of training is to equip leaders with the skills and knowledge to perform their roles effectively. Training allows guiders to acquire new skills, sharpen existing ones, and become better leaders. When guiders put the training they receive into practice, it will assist our girls and young women to become effective leaders. Guiding is about developing leaders at all ages. And I can tell you that the training department of the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago really takes guiding seriously. I am proud of the training commissioner and her training team. They did not allow the COVID-19 pandemic to prevent them from continuing their training program. They showed they are resilient. They organize training for our young women and adult leaders. Like true guides, they adapted to the training team. You will have seen a number of certificates presented here this evening. It tells you that the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago program continued in spite of the fact that we suspended face-to-face meetings. There were many occasions when I tuned into those trainings, some of those adult training sessions. And I can tell you that the persons who were absent from those training sessions missed a lot. Those trainers held my attention from start to finish. Very often at the end of the training, I told them how proud I was of them, and I asked them to continue that zest that they have for guiding. When I listened to Mrs. Paris speak a while ago, I can feel the passion coming from her. I can tell how she feels about guiding. It's the kind of feeling that I get when I speak to many of our guiders. And that is the kind of passion I would really like to see in our young people. They are now coming up, and I see quite a lot of them are taking on leadership roles, and I am very proud of them. I would give them all the support that I can possibly give, because I want to see them grow from strength to strength. Back to our training. Now, the training department took this virtual training seriously. They decided to plan their sessions because they knew that they had to deliver their training virtually. So you heard about training for young women, training sessions on project management. I also tuned into some of those training sessions on project management. And I think that those young people who attended that session gained a lot. This is an organization where we always have projects. So I would now like to see those people who attended those training sessions put that, what they learned there, into practice. I also realized that there were training sessions all about the Sustainable Development Goals. Again, adult leaders and young women made it possible to attend those trainings. They prepared leaders for using the Zoom platform. They had sessions to prepare unit leaders to use the Zoom, because the leaders realized that this is the way for us until we return to normal. So they prepare their leaders by having a session in how to use the Zoom platform. But most of all, I commend them for that training that they had from August to October. When I looked at that training schedule, all the topics that were outlined on that training schedule, people had so much to gain from those training sessions. There was a particular training session that dealt with financing. And I think every single guider should hear that. I have asked the training commissioner to circulate it to every single guider, an extremely important topic for all our guiders. So I must say, special thanks to all those who contributed to those virtual training sessions. I think our guiders benefited considerably. I wish you all the best. Continue the hard work that you're doing. Training team members, may God continue to richly bless you. May God continue to bless all our resource personnel who came in from time to time to conduct sessions. I would say that training in the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago is in good hands. Thank you for the opportunity to say these few words. Continue to enjoy this meeting. Have a good evening. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you very much, Ms. Dolly, for your lovely closing remarks. Go back and look for the times. In all things, we give thanks. Our heartfelt thanks goes out to, firstly, the Almighty Father for his grace and his mercy, his guidance and his love. The president of the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago, Mrs. Sipasad Bechan, for supporting all our ventures. Our Chief Commissioner, Miss Jacqueline Dolly, for her continued support. The training section for embracing and executing the training initiatives. Our training facilitators for creating content and carrying out the training session. Our trainees for attending and actively participating in the training programs. To the award ceremony organizers, thank you for putting together this event to recognize the efforts of GGATT and its membership. To our feature speaker, Mrs. Ruth Paris, thank you again for delivering that motivating and thought-provoking speech. Thank you to today's presenters for accepting the challenge and following through with the relevant presentations. To today's attendees, thank you for making the time to be with us, to share with us, to recognize the achievement of your colleagues and our guiding association. Thank you to our media team for all your patience and technical support, especially for those of us like me who are technologically challenged. And to the Girl Guides Association of Trinidad and Tobago, thank you, thank you, thank you for all the opportunities created. I will now pass you over to Ms. Angela Nesbitt.
Well, hello everyone again. Daryl has done the thank you for us and Miss Dolly has given us our closing remarks. But I know we do still have a few minutes before, and so we're going to be doing some pictures at the moment, good pictures. We want to take some pictures of all our resource persons who are present first. We're going to be spotlighting you all. And then we want to take good pictures of all the persons present here. So please, if you can, turn your cameras on now. We have persons who will be taking the pictures, and you will see that you are being spotlighted. So please do have your cameras on so we can add you to the spotlight and that your pictures can be taken. After the picture taken, we are going to invite, if you would like to say a few words, you will be able to do so. So let me just get the other persons in and find them. If your cameras are not on, we will not be able to spotlight you all. So please do turn your cameras on so that we can spotlight you. Thank you. Ms. Archibald, if you're there, could you turn on your camera, please? All right, so we have, you all will be seeing the persons in front of you, Ms. Anna Maria Mora, Mr. Courtney Bruce of the Scout Association, Ms. Paris, of course, the Caribbean Link, and Nico Johnson, the chair of our media guides. So we thank them kindly for all the services they have given to the training section. All right, so Mercy is unable to turn on her camera this time, but thank you, Marissa, for attending. We will now take group pictures of everyone, so we will be turning off the spotlights now. Thank you, everyone. Our picture takers, please let me know when you've gotten all the pictures taken. Everybody is smiling, I believe, yes. Wonderful smiling faces, which we don't get to see since we're still wearing masks. So keep smiling. This is the one time you can smile as broadly as you like without recourse. Right? So wonderful to see everybody here. All right, I think we have all the pictures now. So thank you everyone for turning on your cameras. Before we go to taps, we know we still have, we are early, so we have a little time. And so we invite anyone who is present, who would like to say a few words, please raise your hand and you will be identified and you can say a few words if we have anyone who would like to do so. The floor is open for you now. I recognize Ms. Jacqueline Road Sargent.
Good evening, everyone. I want to say thank you for a wonderful evening, for recognizing all that took place for the past 2 years. And I hope we continue and I hope you have a replacement that will carry us forward in what we are doing today. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
Hi, Angela. Anna Maria. Hello.
Yes, go ahead, Miss Anna Maria Moore. We're hearing you.
Yes, I just wanted to say that this took me back because I was a ranger guider at Barataria Senior Comp, and some of you may not even know that senior comprehensive. And this just took me back to that time and had me smiling because there were quite a number of girls who are doing very, very well now in their chosen field, who were the guides, and guiding did make a difference in their lives. And they still remember. We worked really hard to send 8 of them to a jamboree in London, get tickets and what have you. And that was something they said they will never forget. So guiding is necessary, I think, for many of the young ladies in our society who might be on the fringes, but at school, they were able to get involved in activities that helped them to really know their worth. And it took me back there. Angela, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, Ms. Morrow, for being here. Thank you for accepting. I don't see any more hands. So then I'll hand you.
Mr. Courtney Bruce hand up.
Was that somebody going to speak?
Yes.
Mr. Bruce. Yes. Go ahead, Mr. Bruce.
Okay, first of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to your ceremony and to let you know that the little contribution I was able to make to your training session, I hope that I was able to make that kind of contribution that will encourage your leaders to go on further. and to let you know that if in the future you still feel that you need my contribution, I'll be happy to do so. I want to wish you all the best and to congratulate you on having this ceremony this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Bruce, and thank you for being here. And yes, we do appreciate all the contributions you have given to us and hope you will assist us in the future. I recognize Doreen Sampson.
Angela, you made me so proud. I couldn't help such an end to say thank you so much and congratulations to the training team and that brand new group that you have. I wish them all the best in the future, and I will be looking, I'll be watching. But I'm truly happy. You've made me proud. Thank you so much, and best wishes for the future.
Hey, Doreen.
Thank you, Mrs. Albertson. Thank you for your words. I do not see any other hands, so I'm going to hand back over to our Mistress of Ceremonies. Daryl, back over to you.
Thank you, Angela, and thank you everyone for all your kind words. So I'll now hand you over to Mrs. Catherine Reed. If we can all stand for taps, please.
Evening taps. Day is done. All together. Day is done. Gone the sun. From the sea, from the hills, from the sky, all is well, safely rest. God is high. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a pleasant evening.
Everyone for attending our ceremony, and do have a good night.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Same to you.
Same to you. No.
Thank you, so beautiful.